Good morning. I am so grateful to be here today, empowering single mothers. My name is Wendy Bloom, and I'm here with my co-host, Lisa McHale, and we have a very special guest, and I'll have Lisa introduce her.
So we do have, thank you, Wendy. And again, welcome to everyone. We have a very special guest. So Wendy is in California. I'm in Ontario. And so is our guest, Shireen. And Shireen is also a single mom. I met her sometime last year, and she has a phenomenal story. And we mentioned our podcast, or we talked about the podcast, and I was like, you've got to come on and share your story. So for those of you who don't know, Wendy's a single mom to, I want to say
Three.
three
Yeah,
kids, but she
three
lives in a
kids.
household with like a blended family. I'm a single
Yep.
mom of one, and I live with my daughter exclusively. And Shireen, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Hi. Hi, everybody. I am a single mom of two, and I've been a single mom for almost 15 years now. And I have a baby that is 2 years old, so 15 years old, and a baby that will turn two actually next month. And it's been quite a journey from one to the other, but using all that I've learned as a single mom.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Thanks for being here. We're really looking forward to chatting with you.
Thank you. I'm excited.
So we have a questionnaire that we send out to our moms before they come on. And one of the questions was, what does single motherhood look like to you? And you said strength, learning, and empowerment, and finding out what works for you. So from 15 years ago to the past 2 years, what
Yeah.
are some of the golden nuggets that you have with, learning along the way?
Oh, you don't know what you're made out of. And you really have no idea until you go through it. And then after you have that ability, and I'd have to say the blessing to look back and pull it out and help other people, that is what is the gift of going through that trial. And it is a trial, it's a test, but that's how you figure out your strengths. And I'd have to say, when I was young, I was very young, people were not getting divorced or single around me. And so I was pretty solo. And because I'm an esthetician, I was working with a lot of female clients. And the people who comforted me were my clients because they were much older women. So none of my friends were comforting me. And there wasn't really anything, like we were the first people to get married amongst our friends as well. So I was very much, it felt alone and a single mom, very young. And I found comfort in different things and in myself within my strength. So that is definitely something. And that's why I realized that, sisterhood along that path became such an important thing, especially because I work in a field with so many women, dominantly women right now. So, yeah. Can't hear you.
And Lisa, you're on mute.
No, I'm waiting for you to go. That's why
Oh.
I can see her thought bubble. Like if you've ever seen any of there's a point when Wendy hears something and you can just see a light bulb go off in her head. And there are many things that I imagine that she wants to touch in on there. So I'm going to
Yeah.
mute myself yet again.
There's a couple of things that triggered me. One was the mention of older women. Gosh, I didn't ever think about myself as being an older woman. And I've reached that goal. It is amazing to me when I talk to 20 somethings now, and I'm just like, gosh, you have so much ahead of you.
Yeah.
I wish I could just let you like sit in my brain and realize that you're gonna come away from this moment, and 20 years from now you're gonna be like, I made it through that. I learned like so much. It's fascinating to me, and I love the fact that your career puts you in a position where you are able to communicate with women intimately, because they're rejuvenating themselves, right? And so they're going to be somewhat vulnerable. It's kind of like when you're getting your hair done.
Yeah.
There's always the shop talk, right?
Yes.
So I think that's such a beautiful thing. And what I was recognizing in how you said it was that as though they embraced you, even though like they didn't realize that's what they were doing, right? And I just think about that, and I'm just like, I want to tell all of the women that are on here that are, you know, let's say 37 plus, remember that you are what younger single moms or younger women, period, what younger kids anyway, can really benefit from your love and your experience and your strengths.
Mhm.
And I just it was just a really beautiful thing. The other thing that you said that I want to ask you about is something that I personally experience, and that is, it sounds as though you found a lot of power or self reassurance in your career, in and capitalizing on the strengths that you had in your career. And
Mhm.
so I was just wondering if you could talk a little bit about that, in like what does it mean to you to be a working mother, and what, you know, what does that do for you in all of the things that you attempt to achieve in your career?
That is a very big question. So um, I love working with women, first of all.
Mhm.
There is knowledge like no other. And when it comes to saying that working with older women or getting advice from older women is a gem, it is. But I have to also say that it doesn't matter your age, we're all sisters, right?
For sure, for
And
sure.
so, but yeah, the wisdom of older women is something that I think when I turned 40, it's like this magic came off that, you know, everybody says, well, how old will you be for the rest of your life if you could choose one age? And for me, it's right now, like 40, 41, 42. I'm
Mm.
42. And it's because I have the appreciation of the wisdom I feel. And I also
Mhm.
feel like I can enjoy watching other younger women grow. And that's a part of
Mm.
my passion in the past of teaching in aesthetics as well. I like to see people grow as well. And then working with women, it's been interesting because I think I came from that very micro generation where, you know, women above me, or I'd say older than me, or lived their experience, divorce wasn't common.
Mhm.
And then women under me or younger than me, it's much more common. And because I've been working in this field with women, I've seen the reactions of women older and younger towards me as a single mom
Mm.
in very different lights.
Yeah.
So you either have the women are like, you're, you know, very empowering, you're a single mom, you're amazing, you're doing this, you're doing that. Or you have, I've come across, not everyone is the same, obviously, older women who've been like, well, you chose your way, you know, you got to make it work, and tough cookie, you got to do it, like, you know, just pull your shit together. I don't know if I can say that. And so, you know, I've had both, and that's been in the working field, but also in my field, women who are older and maybe at a corporate level, maybe they didn't have as much support from their peers, right? Because it is a tougher working environment for women in that as well. So I had to fight a lot when I was doing a very big educational job and balance my daughter's health and my older daughter, my daughter's health, her school, like, you know, living on my own, many things. Again, all being single and also something to learn from, which have given me the skills that I will live off of forever. I really believe. So also now working with women that are younger, it's amazing because of the way media. I don't know if you can hear my baby. Can you hear my baby right now
It's
in the
okay.
back?
It's life.
Yeah, she's fine. It's okay.
Just a
Okay.
little.
That's life. Like,
She, when I see these ladies that are growing up now in this field, like they have so much more empowerment, which is wonderful, but there's also just so much more, right? So not only do they have so much more empowerment, they have so much more to deal with, but they're doing a great job. And there's more resources, more that it comes out as. Now, when you're working with women, sorry if I'm going on too long right now, I
no,
just
not
feel
at
like
all.
that connection in my field is really nice, because that's when you can, bring it home and, tell me as it is and share your stories and share advice.
Yeah.
I have a,
Do you
oh,
think
you
that
first.
your thank you. Do you think that your connection with women and the career has been one of the ways that you've been able to recharge? Because I know as a single mom, sometimes when you're in the single mom mode for too long, like you need to come up for air, and like I needed to come up for air, or like reach out to somebody or get something, and divinely the right person would show up at the right time. Just to sort of
Mhm.
like, you're going to make it, kid, you know what I mean? And your kid's going to be
Yeah.
fine. And, you might be messing it up, right? It's going to be fine. Like sometimes that's all one needs to hear,
Mhm.
right?
And sorry, what was the question?
Do you find that that was like one of the benefits of being in the field that you were in,
To hear that
that
from
you would
other
just,
people, yes.
and the
Yes.
timing, because you would
Yeah,
see them,
yeah.
right? Like it was regular
And I
intervals.
think, that's another thing about, I don't know if I'm sure you've mentioned manifesting at some point. You manifest who comes into your life at that time. And I have clients that I see regularly, and then I have clients that I see out of the blue, and you never know who's going to be in your space that day. And you don't know what the conversation is. And it's not like someone sits down and says, hey, so this is my whole life and this is what I'm going through. That doesn't happen. But, these little things that do happen will bring it out. And yeah, you always take away that golden nugget from that conversation, which would help at the right time, for sure. I feel like everything that we have around us at the moment that we're in our life is something that we don't realize all the time, that it's meant for us to learn from until we can move on, right?
100%. Wendy's bubble is going off again.
Okay. All right. So first, I'm going to do the manifesting because she brought it up.
Yeah.
And then I'm going to come back to a question I had about something you said. So you mentioned manifesting and what we bring into our lives. And this is kind of cool because I was talking to Lisa before and we thought you would come in the room, but you went into a different room. And so we had to change everything up. So I'm also in mortgage. I do home loans.
Nice.
And I'm helping a single mom who her children are a little on the older side and she's moving on with her life. And I needed her to reach out to her ex-husband for support in order to move on with her life. And, that could be really uncomfortable.
Mhm.
And so she asked for the support. He offered it. However, what he provided was not what I asked for. And so rather than make her go to him and say, hey, you didn't do what, was asked of you, I was like, hey, let me put that on me. Let me be that person. And I'm like, don't worry, I'll be nice. She's like, of course you will be. So I reach out to her ex-husband and say, hey, I was hoping I could make this super easy for you. And anyway, so in seeing his email, I saw that he owned a concrete business. And 2 days before, I was like having this realization that I needed a concrete patio for a new hot tub. And I'm like, I'm going to connect with this person and help this single mom. And here is my concrete connection. So I said to him, hey, tell me what you do with concrete. We have the conversation. And then he's like, absolutely, I'll come over and take a look for you. And I'm like, wow. So here I am, going, above and beyond to make it an easier situation for this, divorced couple. And it was just awesome that I manifested a concrete, guy. So the other thing that I wanted to say was you made a comment about sometimes the support wasn't necessarily comforting, or it's kind of like, hey, you're in this situation because you chose it or whatever. Let them feel that way. That's fine. I was curious by any chance, because you did have what you said was women who didn't have experience with divorce, as a lot of the older women. What was your experience of the women who immediately went to a place of, you need to find a new man?
Not a lot. I had
Oh, okay.
more push for people. I was young, I had a new baby. Are you sure everything is okay? He wasn't abusing you. He wasn't terrible. He's still a nice guy. You can go back. You can
Oh,
make,
go back to him.
yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
Yeah, I had
that
more of
sucks.
that. And I would have to say later in my years. Like I actually did not date anybody for 7 years after I divorced or left her dad.
Mhm.
I had no time and kind of I was also fearful to do that as well. I just wasn't ready. And then when I was ready, it was just myself. I didn't have that influence, to be honest. Yeah.
Okay. Well,
Mhm.
that's good. I personally um feel I always had some kind of, who are you seeing? What are you doing to get, find your next relationship? And I bought into that you needed to have a relationship to be whole in some way.
Mhm.
And I've had experiences where I got into relationships, for the wrong reasons because I felt like I had to have one, and
Mhm.
I found someone that I thought I could enjoy that with. Um, and it's interesting to me for myself now, being in a place where a relationship isn't what defines you. You
Yeah.
don't have to have a partner in order to be successful and have a fulfilling life. It's nice when you can find someone that you want to spend your life with, and um, coexist, or be committed to. I was just curious because I definitely myself had women that were always pushing for when are you going to find your next man. And I think there are some women who, when that's what their reality is that they have that support, they want that for someone else, right?
Mhm.
So
I did experience women or some of my friends who were couples. So I would have, and they would actually shy away from me because now
mm,
I
In a
was
couple.
single,
Yeah.
right?
yep.
So I don't know if it was a fear or culture or something, but they did, distance themselves away from me. And it could also have been my life path because I was looking for more people with more time to hang out with me, some of my girlfriends, right? So I had
Wow.
more time than the ones that were in couples as well. So I experienced a lot more of that. Plus, I feel like my personality could come off a little bit strong sometimes. Although I'm very quiet, I'm very independent. So I am very much, I don't need your help, which has been a very big challenge of mine.
Mm,
Yeah.
mm.
And I got it all. I can take care of it all. And that's it. So that could be a reason why people did not want to interfere with me because I would maybe say something back. Right. So,
Mm.
yeah.
Yeah, there definitely, if you have coached the people around you that you're not open
Yeah.
or receptive to support, then they will often start shying away from giving it. And I recently posted near International Women's Day a post about, you know, no one hustles harder than a single mother. I think it
Mhm.
is a single mother um, that doesn't feel like she can ask for help.
Mhm.
And I asked the people in my feed, what does that bring up for you?
Yeah.
And um, and so for me, it brought up, like, how much more could she accomplish if she was willing to ask for
Mhm.
help, right?
Mhm.
Willing to risk being let down, all of those different things. Um, and I don't think there's anything wrong with someone who does everything on their own. Like, we accomplish a lot that way.
Yeah.
We also don't have to do it all on our own, and that's what sisterhood often
Yeah.
is. Having a network of support, whether it's emotional, actually physically, going to the store for us because we need that support, picking our children up, whatever it may be. I think support is something that single moms have an opportunity to embrace when when they're open to it.
Yeah, I'm going to jump in here and just say, like Shireen, I also remain, and I still am single. I wasn't even interested in, I'm just going to say experiencing men, right? Like that was not even on my radar. Um, and then, now I'm kind of, I mean, I was open for a little bit, and then now I'm like, maybe again, I will go down that road. Um, what I do love about what you're saying in terms of sisterhood, and for me, it's not exclusive to only women. Like I have what we call like our circle of love, right? Like
Mm.
people who step in when I can't step in. You know, part of my knowing Wendy was being able to jump on a plane and go to California to do these fun things with her. Well, who would I leave my kid with for like a week or two? And it's not one person. It would be like, well, Monday to Friday she's in school, and then on the weekend she's used to seeing other people. And how
Yeah.
do you keep that normal? You know, there would be a group of parents that were always kind of late for pickup after daycare, and it would be like females and males. And so while I do now understand in my later 40s the value of sisterhood, for me it really does include men as well. And you know,
Absolutely.
I think you have two daughters, right, Shireen?
Yes.
And Wendy, you have a son and two daughters. So,
Hmm.
I mean, we
Yep.
as single moms influence male children also. And so, how does that show up? Um, so, I think the circle of love is so critically valuable along with sisterhood. There's definitely some things you just can't talk to guys about or males about, right? Like, you're just
Mm.
not going to understand what it feels like to be pregnant. Never going to happen. Um, so yeah, that's my only contribution. Wendy and Shireen, you were both going to say something. So let me just step aside here.
I'll let
I'll let you go
Shireen go
ahead.
first. Oh, no, I'm just, there's so much, you were describing, off, camera, you know, your career path and how you, went into education and helping others and growing their, skill sets and career. And then you also have stepped into mortgage. Um, so like how does that feel knowing that you have these two girls that are depending on you? It sounds like you have a lot of time that gets to be dedicated to work. So how do you balance that?
I don't know. No, I'm kidding.
Mm,
I think that's my biggest challenge right now. Mortgages are new to me in the sense that I've now flipped over where I spend my more hours. So aesthetics was my life. It is and always will be my passion. And I have flipped it over where I'm doing mortgages now much more consistently. So the great thing about that, it's a laptop job if you want it to be.
mhm.
The one thing that I think is in terms of balancing is I've allotted days to certain things, and my daughters are first priority. So with them, they are still going through a lot of hospital or doctor's visits, especially with the preemie baby. So that populates my calendar first. Everything else in terms of mortgage then goes in later. And then my social media and my aesthetics are weekends and throughout the week through emails and whatnot as well. And then I have a 15-year-old who needs me more. And I really believe as they get older, they need you more.
Mm.
Um, Especially her being home with the pandemic, um, there's a lot more, conversation as to what's going on upstairs and how are we handling everything and how are we balance how am I helping her balance her school. So I think the most important thing for me right now is to find that time management for my self-care, because if I don't have the self-care, then the rest just will go down.
Mm.
um, and that I've seen it. Like I just feel like, okay, I need to go for a walk, or I need a meeting morning, or I need this, and that I put in after the rest of the appointments. So,
Mm.
or vice versa, depending on how the week or month is looking. So, if I do a me day, it's I do that before the calendar fills up. It's usually on a weekend. Um, and yeah, I mean, I hope that that kind of answers that question. But one thing I'll say about mortgages is working with women, I found the aesthetic side of me really being attentive to what people need has been really resourceful in customer care, because of the fact that this is mortgages are not just all papers and numbers. Because as you mentioned,
Mm-mm.
this is what made me think about it. You had to deal with a single mom and her ex-husband. It's a very sensitive, vulnerable situation. And so I've
Yep.
learned that in the past, couple of weeks with a particular client that I'm thinking about as well. And you have to be, it's so different, but the reason why this aesthetics ties in well is because I'm receptive and in tune, and I guess you could say caring along the way. So it's not just the numbers, it's more personal. And I like that. I love that I can bring that personal side to it. Right.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And so, I mean, in terms of time, when things happen, they happen. Um, right now, because of the pandemic and no school routine, right? No school routine with high schools for me. I'm not sending my daughter to school. Um, the biggest schedule is around my daughter and then me, and as it comes. Yeah.
Let's talk about what an esthetician does for self-care, because I know this is one of the reasons that her and I connected. And I mean, I would never look at you and think, oh, you're in your 40s.
Okay.
Right? I look at her and I'm like, oh, she looks like a young single mom. But then when you say you have like a 15-year-old, I'm like, when did you have babies? Like, so clearly you understand the importance of it. It's something that
Yeah.
I only recently adopted, this time for self-care. And I know immediately when I am not doing what I need to do for myself, like within a week, maybe even like a few days, but it will not go beyond a couple weeks. Like I already know I will like drop everything and just go back to my regular routine to like, so what do you do in order to, or, you know, because it can be a struggle, I think, for most women.
So before
What
the
would you,
pandemic, before the lockdown, I actually created my sisterhood of dinners. So once a month, I was planning a dinner with my sisterhood, like my girlfriends, to go to a new restaurant. And I miss those. So that was something I did before the pandemic. And that was my emotional, my girlfriend time, which was also self-care. The other thing that I had mentioned are my me days. And because of someone that I follow, I would like to now incorporate every Wednesdays and Sundays as something, wellness Wednesdays and self-care Sundays, which a lot of people have kind of gotten on board with that. But even if it's something small, I want to do it. I listening to my books online or through what is it again? The audio,
Audible?
my Audible. I've really enjoyed listening to books. That is a lot of my me time as well, because of it's, I plug in and you don't hear anything else. And I really like that. And what else do I do? Skincare and my early mornings I really miss. And so I'm trying to get back to it earlier and earlier every day for self-care, because it's the one time you wake up and you wake up into peace if nobody's awake, instead of waking up into chaos when you're waking up to someone crying, needing something from you. So that to me is where I'm at right now. And I love walking. I love walking down by the lake. Port Credit is my favorite area, and parks and hikes.
Love it, love it. So Wellness Wednesdays and Self-Care Sundays.
Yeah.
Guess what some of the hashtags are going to be for this episode? And Shireen, we'll definitely put up your stuff for your aesthetics pointers, and also
Yeah.
like the Canadian. So look, we've got a Canadian, or I don't know what the mortgage rules are, okay, folks, but we've got one in Canada and one in the US right now. So what about you, Wendy? What do you got going on for self-care and Wellness Wednesdays? And
Well, definitely I'm inspired. So the things that I've been working on, and it's always, you seem to have it more dialed in than I do, and that's often what happens that allows us to make shifts in our own choices. I would love to say that I have myself on my calendar somewhere. Probably don't. And I definitely am a mother that there are times that my kids have their own things that are on my calendar. For the most part, I'm a mother that shows up where I'm needed, right? Which is often, it's just not calendar. It's not on the calendar. And so I definitely operate from a place of I'm a provider, and I show up for work, and I do my work so that I can provide for my children. I have a tape, like a program from my childhood that I work through on a regular basis of like you need to make money to have your kids. There was a message. And so I'm sure that drives me often without, it's a subconscious thing. I have a Peloton that I have a commitment to a certain number of rides this year that I'm a little behind on, and I know I can catch up. And then I have a commitment for consumption. Like I want to track everything that I consume. So water, food, that sort of thing. And so I haven't been as diligent with that as I would like to be. And then I really need to figure out how to get meditation back into my life. When I have done it, even though it felt awkward at times, it's time that you're giving to just yourself. There's no one else involved. And that's, that's an investment that's worth having, it's worth doing. So those are some things that you're reminding me that I get to do. And maybe I can incorporate it to Wednesdays and Sundays so that I can make it a little easier for myself.
So you can hashtag with us on Wellness
Right.
Wednesdays and
Wellness
self-care.
Wednesdays and self-care Sundays.
That's right. So, and we'll tag one another.
I have something to add to that based on, I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
Are you going to say something? The guilt, the mom guilt is so real, and I can hear it in you.
Yeah.
And that's the biggest thing that I used to work in Yorkville in Toronto, and all of my clients were professors, doctors, lawyers, women. Okay. And they're the women who had really fought to be where they were because of that generation. And I used to tell them all the time, like, you need to not feel guilty. If you don't take care of yourself, how are you going to take care of anyone else? And that guilt is even just planning that time for yourself right now, someone else is going to have to do something to help you. And that's where it gets really hard. So you have to just, I don't know, learn how to not care sometimes, or just do it because, in the end, the repercussion is only going to be in everyone's best interest.
Yeah. Absolutely. Thank you for that.
You're welcome. Yeah.
Oh my goodness. This is the first time I've seen you kind of like, oh my gosh, I got to listen. I got to add myself into the calendar.
Yeah, just do it. And you know how we make appointments in our calendar for doctors and other things, and then we work around them. That means that we forgot to put ourselves down on the calendar. So we're not promising that we're a priority to ourselves. And that we have to remind ourselves of that often, promise ourselves.
Yeah.
Sisterhood, remind each other.
Always. Yeah, I love it. Listen, Shireen, it was so super awesome to have you on. I'd love to have you back
Thank you.
on a regular basis. Just to
This was fun.
Yeah, you know what?
More I didn't know what to expect, but I enjoyed it.
Oh, well,
come back. Just come back. Find a slot. Come back, because it's it's so good to and also just to know that you're not alone, right? To know that it's possible to have children. Like Wendy has also some age gaps between them, and just diversity, and that we're all together, and that we all value sisterhood. And I think it's just so important. This is why we do it. People just come on, they listen, they share, and then we all win. And that's really it. So that's it for me. Wendy, you want to wrap up?
Well, I'm super grateful that you were here and for all that you shared. And something that came up for me, and I don't know if it could be something you put in, maybe a comment on your on this post, or potentially in a future episode where you could discuss the importance of skincare and possibly single moms on a budget, because I think that's one of the reasons a lot of people choose not to do their skincare, is they think that they don't have the money to do it. So thought maybe that would be something that you could
absolutely
speak about.
I mean, I can always, I've dabbled in all areas. So if you would like me to, I would certainly be happy to talk about it.
Yeah, I think that's something that is I hate to single it out, but it's definitely, you know, finances is something that single moms, I think, stress on at
Especially
times.
now. Yeah.
Yeah. So if there's a single mom out there that actually is like good with finances and has some life hacks on like how to do certain things related to money specifically,
Yeah.
can you please make a comment and get in touch with us? We'd love to have you on. And then Shireen, you're going to come back and do some skincare and have a little bit more fun with us. I think that is so super fun.
Maybe I'll do it for my new spa room.
Ooh, yeah, I love
Ooh,
that.
That's
That
awesome.
would be
See
a
how
great
great
idea.
this.
Manifest,
I know.
manifest, right?
I
Yeah.
love it, ladies. All right. Well,
Thank you
that's a wrap.
both.
Thank you again. No,
Thank
for
you.
sure. For sure. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right, ladies. Welcome, or not even welcome. We're wrapping up another episode of Empowering Single Moms.
Very honored.
All
We'll
right.
see you next time. All right.
Thank
Okay.
you.
No, thank you.
Okay.
All right. Bye,
Bye.
ladies.
Bye.